Happy Easter to the few of you who are already here. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear the sound. Got fashion forward mums with us. She says Happy Easter to us all. Back to you. Insra is with us. Says Happy Easter. And Vintage Doberman is with us. Happy Easter. Ariel's with us. Good. So Ariel has Billy. So we'd like to know how Billy's doing with his training. Rhonda Lee's with us. Somebody gives me a thumbs up if you can hear this. Let me turn the volume up on this. Maybe that'll tell me. Should be working. Yeah, I can hear it. Good. Right. Well, I thought I'd start, but see, somebody asked me to talk about something, and now I've completely forgotten. The volume down on that. Well, let me just talk a couple of things. First off, somebody just had some puppies. They've got an incubator. Ron Lee says sound is fine. Good, must be good then. And they were asking about temperature of the portable incubator because it only reads in centigrade, not Fahrenheit. And we're all in America here used to Fahrenheit. But anyway, you want to set it for 38 to 40 degrees centigrade, which is something between 100 and 104, which sounds awfully warm, but you got to think about it this way. It's only the floor that's getting hot. It's not circulating hot air through the whole thing. And for a puppy, it's got to be at around 100 degrees. And if it's on something colder than that, less than 104, it'll feel cold to the puppy. So that's why we set it to around 38 degrees centigrade. And the secret to anytime you use an incubator is always check half an hour after you put them in there to make sure they're not panting or trying to get out of the thing, crawl up the walls. You definitely got it too hot. And the reason you can get them too hot is primarily because if you put a lot of puppies, especially big ones, into an incubator, they can generate their own heat. And incubators, all they can do is heat up. They can't cool down. So you can get in a situation where they actually get too hot. So you've got to be a little bit careful about that. Somebody said 104 degrees. Yeah, so remember, it reads in centigrade. Now, other incubators, don't take that advice for other incubators because they're, all these forced air incubators, they're going to be considerably less than that. Probably something around 88 degrees if it's a forced air incubator. But our incubator is not forced air. It heats up the floor. And so for that, you want to have it set something around 38 to 40 degrees centigrade. And just check it 30 minutes in and make sure the puppies are happy. And if they are, you got it right. Okay. Bruno Frenchy fan says, please always listen to Uncle James. He knows after that many years the way the cookie crumbles. Well, yeah, well, I've been doing it a long time. This is always the problem, though, is who do you believe when you hear, you hear different opinions from different people. And what I do, and we're going to give you one. So I think this is actually, somebody may have said this last time, I'm going to upset them. Maybe it was somebody put a comment in, they talked about, I talked about using a microwave to warm up goat's milk. And they said, don't do that, it actually does damage to the milk. And the correct answer to that is it absolutely doesn't, because microwaves are non-ionizing radiation. Although they're microwaves, they warm up things by making water molecules vibrate, and that makes things warm up. They're very, very safe. And so, look, you can. I actually went and did some research on this after I saw that comment, just to make sure that I really was right about this. But the answer is that you can actually damage anything by heat. If you heat anything up too much, then it can mess it up. But microwave is such a simple way. Now, Chanel here has a baby, and she, for the most part, is breastfeeding, but she's also pumping so that she can have some relief every now and then. And she's warming that up by putting it in a hot water bath. And I know a lot of people do that. And of course, that's completely safe. But I mean, you can use a microwave. You just got to make sure that you don't. The thing about a microwave is if you put things in a microwave, you can get things hot, not evenly to start with. And so you think that you pick the thing out of the microwave and you think that it's not warm. But if you switch it around, you find that it is. So you just got to be a little careful, with heat. But microwaves are completely safe. Non-ionizing radiation. But back to what I was saying. Look, is James always right? No. So the answer is you always, if it doesn't sound right, go find another source to confirm what you believe or what that person's telling you, right? Because, there is a lot of bunk, and I mean, that misinformation is given out. And I mean, I'm sure I've been part of that over the years, where I've also done that. I'll give you an example of one that I found out that I was giving bad information on here just recently was oxygen. And somebody said this on the live here about 3 weeks ago. They said, you've got to be careful with oxygen. Don't just give oxygen all the time, because you can cause problems with puppies' eyes. So I can't remember the term for it now, but you can basically over-oxygenate the retina, and you can cause problems with that. So there's an example of one that I was thinking that you couldn't do any harm by giving oxygen. But if you give prolonged oxygen, you can. So when should you use oxygen? When you need it, and not just routinely, but only when you need it. So when you need it, when puppies are first born, I think it's a good idea to have some extra oxygen because they're having a hard time breathing, or you've got a puppy that's having some kind of an event where it's breathing, having a hard time breathing, pneumonia, bronchitis. Those would be times that I think that it makes sense. Otherwise, I wouldn't use the oxygen if you need it. Okay, let's see if we've got any questions here. Fashion Forward Mum says, and I mentioned that you set up, so she wants to know if that's the same temperature for our heated whelping kit. It is. So because the heated whelping kit works exactly the same way. Remember, the tape, here's the floor, you stick the tape to the bottom of the floor, and the heat comes up through this, and heat gets into the puppies. So you set that for 104, and the reason is the puppies, if that's at 85 degrees, it'll feel cold to them. It will not feel warm. 104 degrees, when you touch it, does not feel boiling hot at all. It feels just mildly warm. So that's why you set that temperature. But if it's like less than that, it's not doing any good. It's actually taking heat out of the puppies. So Miss Tammy's probably going to come here in a moment. She's actually eating. She cooked a really nice Easter dinner, and Tammy and the kids are in there eating it right now. And I just grabbed some really quick. I didn't want to miss you guys. Dana Hall says, when I spin down blood for a PG test, the serum turns, I get a gel blob. Yes. Any advice? I've run into this many times. So here's the things that I do. First off, it's frustrating because you do it with whole blood too. The whole blood. I'll give you an example. I've just been testing a dog these last few days to get ready to breed. We've bred the dog, and couldn't get much blood out of the dog because it just does not like it. It has small veins, and I was using a small needle, and I was getting about maybe 0.3 of a cc. And if you let that sit for very long, that blood will gel up, or clot up, and then you go stick in your auto pipette, put it in there, let it go, and nothing comes up into the clear part of the auto pipette because it's blocked the tip up because it's gone globbed up on you. So what do? If you've spun it in its plasma, respin it for about 30 seconds. That will break it back down and try it again. If you've got whole blood and you haven't had to spin it, then just take the tip of the auto pipette and just swish it around, move it around, and get it all stirred up. That will normally get it back going. Something else that you can do that may help, they say, is to let plasma sit for about 10 minutes before you try to suck it up. I don't do that. I use it immediately because I have this gel problem otherwise. But I've never had it where I've had to redo it. Always just respinning it fixes the problem. So it can be frustrating, but you'll get it done. Okay. Right. people are praising me. I like it. I mean, who doesn't like to be said that they're doing a good job? Thanks a lot. Yeah, so Fashion Forward Mum confirms with me that it's an old wives' tale about the microwave heat up baby formula, exactly. She says she did it and my kids turned out to be zombies too. They can't turn out to be zombies for other reasons. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, so Bruno Frenchy says, tell Miss Tammy to say hello and show up. She will. And she says, and Bruno says, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, so let's have some thumbs up. That'll be great. In fact, if you don't get the thumbs up twice what they are right now, Tammy's not going to come in here. There's your incentive. If you want to see Tammy, you've got to give a thumbs up. Okay, so Bruno's talking also. He mentioned something he saw on one of my videos from some time ago. How do you know that your oxygen concentrator is working okay? So let's just talk about oxygen concentrators and what we're trying to get done when you need them and what the pitfalls are. So the first thing is an oxygen concentrator takes normal air that you and I are breathing is about 21 to 22. King Tattoo just gave me a tip. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Thanks. Thanks. Number one fan. You are. Right now, you're number one fan because you're the one who's given us a tip. Thanks very much. Very nice of you. So, with oxygen concentrators, well, normal air that you and I are breathing, I think it's 21, 22% is what the normal concentration, the rest of it's mostly nitrogen and a few other things, carbon dioxide. But anyway, an oxygen concentrator has what's called a molecular sieve inside it that has the ability to let smaller molecules, not the nitrogen, go through to a different chamber, and it can get that concentration up to something above 90%. So how do you know it's working? You know, it's got a little buzzer on it. It says, but how do you know that's working? Because it's not measuring oxygen, it's just measuring airflow. I can tell you that. It's not. Those, you know, I've had oxygen concentrators that I know aren't working, and this is what you do. You take a toothpick, you light it up so it's on fire, you blow it out, so there's a red ember on the end of it. And if you blow on it like that, you'll have a hard time getting it to relight. If you try softly and for long enough, you probably will get it lit again. But just blowing on a little bit might make the embers glow a little bit, but it will not get it lit back up. If you put that in a stream of oxygen from an oxygen concentrator, it will just erupt into flames immediately. I mean, it's obvious. You know your oxygen concentrator is working. You'll see a video of me doing that. I actually caught the tube on fire doing it. So be a little careful how you do this because it's like a blowtorch, right? But that's the way you take it. So why would you do this? Because, you know, every now and then it makes sense, especially if you're buying a used oxygen concentrator. My first oxygen concentrator was one that I bought for humans. I think I paid about $150 for it. And I bought it on Facebook Marketplace. And when I went there, I took a lighter and a toothpick. It was actually at a medical supply store. And they got a number of them for sale. And they said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm just making sure these things work because I want to buy one or two of them. And they had 3 there, and I tested them, and one of them didn't work. Putting air out wasn't working. I said, I just don't want that one. They said, oh, well, there you go. I took the other 2, and $150 a piece, and I had 2 of them. So anyway, so when would you give the oxygen? So what we do is we take a cup, we put a hole in the bottom of the cup, we pass the oxygen tube through that cup, so it's on the inside of the cup, and then we put the whole puppy's head in the cup. Set the oxygen concentrator to the lowest setting, 1 liter a minute, because that'll give you the highest concentration. If you set it for 6 or 7 liters a minute, concentration might only be 66%. It gets down rapidly. And look, think of it. These things are designed for humans that weigh 120 to 200 pounds. The puppy you're putting in there might weigh a pound or 2. It doesn't need anywhere near as much oxygen. The lowest setting is what you should set it for. Okay. Bruno Frenchy says, Mr. James, what brand of tape do you use for ear taping, if you don't mind? So Tammy swears by the Band-Aid white tape that you can buy at Walmart, and it works great. And I think one of the reasons she likes that is it's fairly easy to remove it. I've used electrical tape before, taping up legs and taping up ears, and it works fine too. Just adheres a bit more, and it's just a little bit hard to get off, but it really doesn't matter. Either one will work fine. I think that's just regular, you know, packing tape's not going to work very well. It's too wide, but either electrical tape or the white Band-Aid tape is what I would use. Blazing Colors, PG question. One for machine, female bouncing around from 16 to 22 for 8 days now. I need to see a spike before she's considered ovulated. A spike to 30, I should breed. Confused, help, thoughts. Yeah, so let's see, somebody else also says, or if she goes to 30 then 40 before I breed. Well, here's the problem. The problem is that what you normally would see on a fine care machine would be numbers that are slowly rising, maybe 1 point a day after about day 5 being heat. First 5 days, you're sub 1. Then it's going up about 1 point a day. After about 5 or 6 days, you're something around a 2. Then the next day, you're a 3. The next day, you're a 4. And I think ovulation on the fine care machine typically is a 7, and it goes up about 70% there afterwards. You're looking for this knee. You're looking for this rapid change, that rapid change where it's going up slowly and all of a sudden, wham, it's going up a lot every day. That is ovulation, breed 2 days later, and you should be around something between 18 and a 25, right? Some dogs bounce around, especially young dogs, and those numbers aren't staying up there consistently. And I can't give you a reason why, but I would just keep on testing. I would get my first breeding done if a dog's doing that around a 20, and I'd breed every other day and just make sure that she's in the high 20s low 30s before I quit. That seems to work pretty well. Yeah, so he says, yeah. Okay, let's have a look here. If she goes to same question. If she goes to 30, then 40 before I breed, sitting in their 20s for 8 days has me really not sure what to think. Well, I agree. You don't know. This is the problem. So this is also the problem. I think that the linkage between ovulation and progesterone levels is not exact. It's what we're looking for is a rapid increase that keeps on rising. And if it doesn't keep on rising, you're already kind of funny area, and all you can do is just keep on testing and breeding. That's all you can do. Most dogs don't do that. Most dogs, once they go over this point where it starts to go up rapidly, they keep on climbing, and they'll be 30, 40, 50, 60. You're testing on an IDEX machine at the vet, they can't read past 20. On an IDEX machine at the vet, you're doing a vaginal AR on a 15 and a surgical at something above a 20. Numbers are going to be about 5 to 7 points higher. Here's Chanel. Hey, Chanel. Here's Chanel. You come and sit here for a second, Chanel? No, I'm going to give you my ears. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Love you. Fashion forward mom, I have a pregnant female Shih Tzu. Attempts going down 101.2 down to 99.4, back up to 101. Is she broken? What she do? We're talking about whelp, I assume here. So most dogs whelp when their temperatures drop below 99.0, whelp within 24 hours. Some dogs, you don't even see it. Some dogs do funky stuff. Some dogs, the drop happens and then they go back up and you never see the drop again. So all I can tell you is that I look, the most reliable thing on predicting whelp is temperature, but it's not 100% reliable. So combine this with how many days since you did the AI? Is it 61 days? Is she eating food? Is she nesting or panting? And then if you're not sure of any of this stuff, you're not getting like 3 out of 5, progesterone level needs to be sub 3.5. I've seen dogs have puppies when the progesterone level's 8. I mean, all the vets say, oh no, can't take puppies if the progesterone level's 8. I can promise you, occasionally a dog will have puppies and progesterone level will be 8. So you've got to take all this into effect. Now, what's going on with your dog? I mean, again, her temperature part of this is not regulating very well. And you just have to go rely on other things. Number of days in heat. Are you at 61 days? Is she nesting, panting, not eating food? And then do a progesterone test if you're not sure. And the one we talked about with the breeding where the numbers are going high, she's on day 819. So that's also an indication you have an unusual dog there, because most dogs have already been bred by the time they're at day 19, but some not. This is the problem, especially what we call prolonged heats. Prolonged heat, especially in young dogs that are a year and a half old, they start up and they're doing this. They're just doing this up and down on the progesterone. It's not a nice steady increase. It's doing this. It may even go back down, all the way back down to something around a 1, and then the whole thing picks back up again. I mean, you just got to test all you can do. What week or day of pregnancy can you see babies moving around? That's from Fashion Forward Mum. So the answer on this one is you can do an X-ray at day 51. There's no point doing an X-ray before that. When you're about 3 weeks in, at that point, you've got something, the structures that you're looking for if you're going to try and palpitate are about the size of a walnut. So you're not going to feel those moving around. For me, I don't know exactly what the literature says about when you would see puppies moving around. But for me, it's typically about the last 10 days to 7 days of the pregnancy, and maybe even closer to the point where they're going to have puppies. So basically the last week. You're not going to see much beforehand. She's drinking a lot and eating, so maybe she isn't ready. This is Fashion Forward talking about the temperature. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so same thing again. Some dogs will eat the day they're having puppies. Most won't. Most will stop eating 24 hours beforehand, but some will. This is why, especially if you've got a small litter, one puppy, a singleton, then all of this goes out the window, because number one, you've got a small puppy because you didn't breed correctly on the right day. And remember, the actual day you breed is not the predictor of when the puppies are going to come. If you breed early, then the puppies seem to come late. If you breed late, the puppies seem to come early, and in both cases you get small litters. And then you may not see, with only a single puppy in there, you may not see the progesterone drop like you'd expect, all the things that you'd normally see. That's where people get typically caught out, is when they've got the breeding wrong and they've got a small litter with a 1 or 2 puppy litter. Okay. Sasha Grace says, happy Easter, back at you. Love to help you provide. You're welcome. Back in February, my female came in heat. Vet used a mini Vitus. So the mini Vitus machine reads much, much higher than the IDEX that most of us are familiar with. Give you an example, what would be 15 on a IDEX would be a 28 on a mini Vitus. So where you breed on a 15, you'd be breeding on a 28 on a mini Vitus, right? So much, much higher. It's not much higher on the low end. The low end's about the same. When you do a mini Vitus for deciding when it's right to do a C-section, the number might be something less than a 4. It's pretty close to what the number would be on an IDEX, a 3 maybe. It might be just a 1 point difference. The other end, it's almost twice. Almost twice. Okay, so let's see what the question is. She was at 11 on a Wednesday. 2 days later on Friday, she was at 35. She didn't take. Well, okay, so I mean, you got unlucky on this because at 11, that would typically be typical ovulation you expect to be bred 2 days later. And you bred her 2 days later, and she was at a 35. And that's really close to 28.5. Remember, what is the number of days difference? When would you expect to go from a 28 on a mini Vitus to a 35, right? The answer is it's going to go up about 70% a day. So if she was at a 28, right, the next day she should be at a 50. You're at a 35. You were just like 4 or 5 hours past optimum. That wasn't the reason she didn't take. There was something else going on here. So we don't know what the quality of the semen was. I don't know if you looked at it or not. We don't know what the motility was. If not, next time I check it, you don't know. There's lots of variables here. Was her first litter? Is she a young dog? Was the technique, the AI done right? There's lots of other variables, but I don't think timing was the reason for your lost litter on this one. Okay, Bruno Frenchie, Miss James, would you help me out in my private text message request? Okay, I don't know where the private text message is, but maybe what I would recommend is if you want some information from me, text me directly to my phone number, 580-799-2873. I respond to all of those. And if it's unclear what you're asking, I'll call you back. And I typically do that fairly quickly after you call me. Same day, typically text response within 30 minutes or less. Bashford Mum Wilson, her pregnancy is unplanned. I thought she was not old enough, so I wasn't watching out for her to get pregnant. Okay, well, there you go. So she's a young dog. That's probably the reason it didn't take. Sasha Gray thought she may have a singleton because some signs were there, but took her for an X-ray and no pups. Yeah. So, well, of course, you better have done that at day 51 or later, otherwise you might miss the pups. And of course, there's other things that can happen, like absorption of puppies. Dogs can show up on an ultrasound, and then there's no puppies there, and they got absorbed. I'm not a huge believer in this absorbing puppies part. I think probably they were never pregnant in the first place. But I mean, everybody talks about absorbed puppies, so I'm just going to go with it. I've never seen it happen to me. So, okay. Frenchie Delicious is asking a question that's going to get you in trouble. Is it safe to do a C-section on day 60 after AI? And the answer to this is 80% of the time, probably 20% of the time, it's a disaster. And there's absolutely no reason to do a C. Let's back this up a second. That's a bit rough I'm getting here. The problem with this is that you don't know when the right time to take puppies is, and it's not just 61 days from AI or 63 from ovulation. It's when you see all the signage is right. Temperatures drop, not eating food, nesting, panting, PG level below 3.5. That might be day 60. But if you bred early and you got a small litter and she's actually going to have puppies on day 63 and you took them on day 60, that'd be a disaster. You'd have puppies that were premature and probably a lot of them wouldn't survive. So the answer to this is you don't understand what I'm talking about yet. So I would recommend that you go look at one of my videos and it says, what a vet doesn't know will kill your puppies. Look at that video and it talks it's about 30 minutes long and it talks about the whole thing in great detail. You've got to get this right. And I keep harping about this. And unfortunately, I promise you, every week I talk to somebody who's got in trouble with their puppies, got premature puppies because they've been steered wrong and took puppies early. So don't be that person. Six repeat says, how many weeks should puppies start on mush? So typically for us, it's about week 5 that we're getting them away from mum and getting them weaned, and then we're putting them on a really kind of syrupy, soupy kibble mixed with water or kibble mixed with goat's milk. Watch out for the small puppies because they can not take to it as well as the big ones, and may need to have more time with mum to kind of get them moving. Yeah. And then there's other reasons to do this too. Like mum's milk's running out, got a big litter, she's really getting hammered and having a hard time. She doesn't want to be with the puppies, have milk's failed. All of these reasons would be tried earlier. You can try it as soon as 4 weeks. They need to have teeth. As soon as 4 weeks, you can get started on this. Maybe a tad earlier, but you better be careful with it. Daniel Gray said, I asked about the ear flopped back after hematoma surgery. I have never had surgery on a dog with a hematoma. I've always been to fix it by just literally taking a needle and putting it in the back of the ear, low down, putting a needle in there. It needs to be a fairly decent gauge needle, at least an 18 or lower. Lower numbers are bigger needles. It sounds crazy, but an 18, I use a 22 to draw blood, an 18 or a 16 gauge needle. Stick it in where it's swelled up, the very bottom part of where it's swelled up. Stick that needle in there, and then you can either leave the needle in there without a syringe on it and just squeeze on the ear and it'll all just come out of it. That's what I do. Or you can actually take the syringe and evacuate the ear like that. I've never had surgery done, so I don't know about this ear flop after surgery. It worries me what you've got here, but look, all I can tell you is this: if an ear's flop, tape it up. Right, that's it. I don't know what else you're going to do because it's always fixed it for me. And but exactly why it's flopped down after surgery, I don't know. Maybe there's still some blood in there, or maybe the ear's kind of a little bit, swollen, and it makes it heavy, so it's fallen down. But again, take yourself a tube. The barrel from a dry razor works really well. Cut it so it's about that long. Stick it in the ear. Fold the ear over it like a taco. And tape it up. And I've got it. So this is the ear on the dog. Right, there's the ear. You take the tube like this and you wrap it. You put that tube there and you wrap the whole thing with some tape. Then the whole thing will stand up like this. So you got an ear that's standing up like that. And you leave it like that for days. If you take it off, it fills back up with blood. Then if it's a hematoma trying to fix, wrap it back up again. If the ear is flopping down, you don't need the tube. You can just simply tape the ear up. Just tape the ears without the tube. The reason to use the tube is it compresses the skin against the tube so it can't fill back up with blood. If you don't do that, it just fills back up with blood very quickly, and you just done it for nothing. Six RPY. Can a Merle French female and a Merle male breed? Can the litter be all Merles? Well, they absolutely can breed. You shouldn't do it, and they will all be Merles. And the reason you shouldn't do it, that would be called a double Merle, and a double Merle tend to be blind or deaf, specifically deaf. So you don't breed Merles to Merles. If you have a dog that's what's called a cryptic Merle, which means it tests Merle but you can't see it, that dog can be bred to a Merle, and it will produce Merles. All the litter will either be Merles and cryptic Merles. There'll be a combination of both. So you can do it in those situations. But the advice is don't ever breed a Merle to a Merle. Forget Me Nots from Australia is with us. Good to have you with us. And she says, my girl had 2 pups on the 15th. Unfortunately, my girl had a cleft palate, so we opted to put her to sleep on the vet's advice. Question, is there a test for cleft palate carriers? No, there is not. So this is the problem with, so what do you do with a cleft palate? The answer is what you did. You don't bring those puppies home. I see people all the time saying, oh, we're talking to a rescue place and they rescue dogs. I've tried this. I've been completely unsuccessful. I've tried it probably 4 or 5 times in my life, trying to save a cleft palate puppy. Now, typically I get to the point where they're 4 or 5 weeks old, they're eating mush, but then they get a sinus infection, they die. They're always small, they're always kind of runty, and I've never been successful. Now, if they've got a hair lip, but rather than cleft, it's all the way back of their palate, all the way up to the front. Sometimes they just get it in the front and it's a hair lip, and those dogs absolutely can nurse and they'll be fine, and that can be fixed cosmetically when they're about 6 months old. Those dogs are okay. Cleft in the back. Yeah. I wish there was a fix for this, but there's probably other things going on with those dogs, and that's why they're small, probably. That's why they have the cleft palate. There's no test for it. The one thing that you should be doing is give your pregnant dogs 1 5-milligram folic acid tablet every day they're pregnant. We do this with humans these days, and we should do it with dogs. It helps with reducing the number of I can't think of the right word. Problems with the formation of babies. Anyway, give 5. Now, if you go look at things like Oxymama, and you look at the label, it's got like 800 micrograms. And you might think, God, 800 micrograms, that's a lot more than 5 milligrams. It's not. 800 micrograms is 0.8 of a milligram. You need 5 milligrams. That's nowhere near enough. You can still give the Oxymama, but supplement with a 5-milligram tablet every day from when they've been bred until they whelp. And it's very important that the very first part, the first month, is more important than the back half. If you're going to miss it, miss the back half. Don't miss the first half. I've never had a problem with a dog giving it folic acid. It hasn't caused any stomach upsets or anything. Johnson Kennels, what's the best way to plan a C-section for a Frenchie in an unplanned pregnancy? Did the PG test or see the mating? Right. So let's talk first off, unplanned pregnancies. We're going to give you a little lecture first because we have to start that way about how you screwed up with an unplanned pregnancy. So you might tell us how you had an unplanned pregnancy. So typically what happens in these situations is somebody's looking after the dogs for you. They don't realize they can't leave the dogs out in the backyard. Leave them in the backyard. They look out the window and 2 dogs are hooked up and you've got the wrong dogs bred. And if you're unlucky, it might be, a German Shepherd with a Labrador. You completely got something that's not financially viable if that's what matters to you. So what do? You have to keep these dogs under careful watch the entire time from when they're a week, 10 days before, when they first come into heat, until 3 weeks after, 4 weeks after, they're in this vulnerable area where they can get bred. And dogs that are left on their own or their own devices will go through all kinds of measures to get bred, both females and males. Males will hop fences, dig on fences. Females will dig on the fences. They'll get it done in a heartbeat, so you just can't leave together. So that's the lecture, right? If you find this has happened to you and you're right there when it's happened, you can maybe save the day by getting some apple cider or getting one of these female vaginal cleansing products like Summer's Eve, and basically deuce the dog out with that. You've got a chance that you can wash out the semen before it actually goes and fertilizes an egg. Okay, so that's how it's happened. What you should do to stop it from happening is keep these dogs under your careful watch. If it has happened, you could try the cleansing to see if you can stop the pregnancy. If that doesn't work, how do you time it? Off temperature. You're going to have to take the dog's temperature. You're going to see some signs. This is getting close. Milk line maybe is developing. You can see that her stomach's getting bigger. Start taking her temperature. And then watch for other signs. All of a sudden, she's not eating any food. Getting very picky, maybe a few days beforehand, but she's just not going to take even the food that she really likes, like, the food that I like lobster and caviar and filet mignon and Wagyu beef and stuff like that. Not going to eat it 24 hours, typically not going to eat it 24 hours from when she's going to whelp. And temperature is probably the best thing. And then after that, if you're not sure, then you do all the things you normally do, which would include doing PG tests. All right. Okay, so some Forget-Me-Not says, I've heard Orivet has a test we're talking about for a cleft palate. Well, I'm going to go check that out. Interesting. Because remember, there's lots and lots and lots of genetic problems that can crop up that there aren't tests for. There aren't tests for, but a handful of tests for dogs. But I'm going to go check that out. Interesting to see. And then the question then gets to be is, what does the test tell you? Does the test tell you that one of the parents is a carrier of it? In which case, if only one was a carrier and you bred them, you'd be okay. If they're both carriers of it, then you have a 25% of your litter would likely have cleft palates. Obviously, the test is no good after the fact because you can look in their mouth, so it's going to have to be on the parents. When is a good time to do DNA tests on puppies? Well, we removed the dew clause of the 3 to 5 days old. You can do it as late as maybe certainly 7 days you can do it. 10 days, you're probably pushing a little bit. If you do it in that time frame, it's painless. It's very easy to do. We set the dew claws off. We use animal genetics. They do have a form. They expect you to see a swab, but they'll take the dew claws, and they're probably better to do it that way anyway. When do we do that? We want to get DNA results back quickly because we want to know what we've got. We don't want to be under or overselling our puppies, and there's a good chance that you'll get it wrong if you're just guessing on colors. So we DNA test all of our dogs, and we use animal genetics, and typically we've got those tests off to them within 3 days of birth, and we get the results back about a week later. So we're about 10 days into this. We've got some results, and that way we can start talking about these various different puppies and confirming what their colors really are. Forget me not Frenches, we have a beautiful fat little boy. Mum is being frantically still digging everywhere and carrying around her toys. She's also not eating, so I'm syringe feeding her at the moment. I definitely gave her folic. Here's Tammy.
Yay!
Did they live?
Baby.
Did they live?
Slobber, yes.
Oh, this is my granddaughter.
I got to squeeze her.
We
got to play in the mirror for just a little bit.
So she is what, 9 weeks old now?
Yes.
Or 10 weeks old?
I think getting there.
So 10 weeks old. And Tammy is the apple of her eye.
What about?
I'll just cancel that.
Yeah.
I might not work.
Well, my granddaughters are apples of my eyes.
I know, but my point here is
that
new one. She sees you and she just goes. She's at the point now where she's starting to make noises. She's doing face reactions. She doesn't do it much for me.
Well, in the mirror, I put her on my shoulder and she sees herself in the mirror, and I talk to her. She talks back to me. It's just unreal.
Yes.
She's
something else. Everybody's proud of their kids, but we're really proud of this grandbaby.
Regret wanting her to talk.
Yeah, I regret it with you. It's like, I mean,
wait a minute. Who's the big talker here?
I was wanting
James. Yeah.
When I was first dating many years ago, I was actually looking for a deaf and dumb girl. That's what I was looking for. And
well, you got the dumb ones.
So I didn't get either. I didn't get dumb ones or deaf ones. And look, I mean, I shouldn't even make jokes like that these days because that's not even funny. But
no, if Chanel was here, you would have been criticized.
Oh no, Chanel would criticize me for saying something like that. But when you get to my age, you can get away with this crap. You can say inappropriate things, and people know you're just old. And that's just the way that inappropriate things. I say inappropriate things all the time. I try to make a joke out of them, but sometimes, at some point, I'm probably going to get shot by somebody. Somebody's going to get.
My eyes always go, oh.
Yes, that's how let's just go. I would say anyway. So Libby and Chanel have left, and so is Jake. Yes, and we are moving to another house. And so we're just going to talk a moment about dogs and cats moving to another house because we're about to do this in another. So what do you do, Tammy? What are you going to do with the cats?
Well, if you have cats and you're moving, you want to take them over there in a crate, put them in a garage, and shut the garage.
Let's get her mic'd up. Here we go. Get you mic'd up. Yeah. So take them over to the other house in a crate in a garage and lock the garage up. There it goes. You're good.
Yeah. So you either have a room, but usually it's the garage where they can smell all the smells that they're going to smell around the new area. Do not let them out of that garage for about 3 days. Of course, you want to have a litter box in there, their food and their water. Make sure it's cool for them because now this time of year is when it's going to start getting hot. So, but anyway, you let them out after 3 days and they're going to hang around.
Yeah, and so when you let these kittens, they're not kittens, they're 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old cats.
Oh, they're older.
Older than that, yeah. They're big cats. But they're outdoor cats. They are cats that they put up at night. In the daytime, they're roaming around. So when you let them out after 3 days, are you just going to open the doors up and just let them have at it? Or are you going to kind of do a little bit of that and then put them back in? Are you going to, how are you going to make sure they don't run off?
Well, they're not going to after 3 days.
Right.
No.
Okay.
No. Our cats, this will be their second move.
It is. That's right.
Yeah. So they do good.
Okay. All right. So Forget-Me-Nots was talking about a beautiful fat little. I wasn't sure what the question is here. Mama is frantically digging everywhere and carrying around her toys. She's also not eating. So I think what you're saying here, are you talking about a dog that has had puppies and she's still acting like she's trying to find where her other puppies are? Did you have a litter and some of the puppies didn't make it? Give us a bit more information here because I'm not sure quite what you're asking. So, fashion forward mum says, I've tried a cleft palate baby several times without any luck. And since the $10 F5 milligram folic acid, haven't had any issues at all. Yes, there you go. So we haven't had a cleft palate in a long time. And so,
knock on wood, we got a couple of females that, well, we just got through breeding one female. And so we've had the other one bred for about 3 weeks now. So knock on wood, we didn't, mark that to make, always afraid to say stuff.
Yes, right. Yep. So we've been lucky with it. But again, we've been using the folic acid. So, anecdotally, it's working. Yeah. Right. Yes.
Folic acid does the trick.
Fashion More Mum says, you got smart and beautiful, LOL. I think she's talking about me, but I'm not sure.
You're smart and beautiful.
I think she's talking about me.
Yeah.
You might give us a thumbs up and tell me that's true.
You always think it's about you. It's all about James.
Unless something's gone wrong, then it's not about me. Right. Yeah, Fashion Forward. Oh, she's carrying an unplanned pregnancy. No idea how far along she is. It's very stressful. Sure, I hear you. Keep taking temperature. That's all you can do. Bruno, Frenchy fan. Miss Tammy, great to see you as well. I did the thumbs up, I promise. Okay, good.
Good.
All right, good.
Yeah, we need those thumbs up.
We're doing pretty good. But we could do,
no, we could always use more.
Yeah, it's Easter Sunday. We don't have quite as many viewers today. I'm sure people are doing other things. I understand that.
It's like me. I fixed the supper after.
This is a good question from Ronald White. Should I whelp 2 litters in the same area? I think you're talking about 2 litters at the same time. So first off, if you've got a designated area for litters like we do, we use that place all the time, and litters are not. But we do run a situation where we've got 2 litters at the same time.
Yeah, but we don't run them together. We keep them in their separate areas, especially when they're brand new, because Mama Dog could get upset and not make milk. So, but later on, when they get older, when they're weaned away from Mama, you can probably mix them all together.
Well, okay, so that's not quite what I thought you were going to say, but that sounds good.
I've seen some people they'll just have them all together, mamas, and, some babies are nursing on the other mama, and that's if they get along.
Well, I'm going to say a couple of things here.
If they tolerate other puppies.
I'm going to start thinking about this canine herpes virus.
Oh.
And so I think that generally, if you've got first-time mamas, they definitely should not be with other dogs, period, for 4 weeks before and 4 weeks after whelp. So that negates this being in the same physical location. Now, they could be in separate. So what we use is we use a crate, a 42 by 28 crate, and the puppies and mama are in that.
With the heated whelping system.
And a cover on it. And we might have 2 of those in our kitchen at the same time, because it's quite common that we have a litter, another girl went to the heat a week, 10 days later, and we're staggering 2 litters at the same time. They're both in our kitchen. We don't let those mums out together, and we do keep them covered up so we don't stress a dog out. And it's quite common, especially the older mamas, you let them out and they want to go sniff around the other cage. They know there's puppies in there. They want to see what's going on. They're pretty nosy. And the first new mum may not like that. We don't want to stress her out, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's no harm in this as long as you're just sensible about not getting dogs stressed. And think about the canine herpes virus for new mamas. You don't want to introduce that. You have a big problem. Okay. So I answered a bit different than you, but kind of the same. Forget Me Nots. She just had puppies on the 15th. I think this is the one about the. What was that one about? Forget Me Not. They're the Australian folks. What was the question? The fat boy. Okay. Everywhere and carrying around. So I'm not sure what's quite going on with this dog. I mean, so one of the things that we do is we leave mums and babies together right from birth because we want to bond, right? If you start putting puppies into incubators and mums aren't with their puppies all the time, they don't lose or don't have a very strong bond with their babies. Do you buy that? Right? So, we do run into problems occasionally with new mums where they don't know what's going on for the first 12 hours. I don't think we've ever had a situation since we're doing it the way we do it now where mums haven't taken over and looked after their babies. Can you think of one? Because I don't think we've had one, have we? Yeah. I say I don't think because I had to remember back. We had a lot of litters. But
all our mamas have been able to take care of their babies.
Yeah, they've all been good mamas. They've all been good mamas. And so
there was a time or two where we had, just one time, We had a female that was just stubborn as all get out. And she was going to show me she wasn't going to lay down, feed those puppies.
Right.
I told her different.
Yeah. So,
and she, the next day it just triggered in. It just takes some dogs a little bit longer. At first you think, well, it's the anesthesia, that they're still kind of goofy, which that happens.
sure.
But boy, this wasn't anesthesia. This was stubborn.
So another thing that you don't see typically in French, but you do see in small dogs like Chihuahuas, is eclampsia or milk fever. That's another reason dogs can act really wigged out and act weird. So you got to think about that if you see that. But Tammy is a firm believer in discipline, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Now you've done it with the kids, not in a mean way at all, but in a way that is, I've seen Schnell be spanked by Tammy. And,
when she was little.
When she was little, not now. No, she's 32 now.
Everybody.
But,
you.
Yeah, but I mean, there was
times
the wrong thing was said in the wrong way, and the retribution was immediate. Same thing with dogs. It's okay. Just don't hurt the dog. The whole idea is not to hurt the dog.
Right.
The idea is to shame the dog, right?
Right.
For dogs doing things like, I see dogs, for instance, with a heated whelping system, they'll want to drag the dogs out from underneath. Some dogs, not many, but some dogs will drag they want the puppies around them. And sometimes you just got to let them get on with it.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
just let them do that. Right. And, but, if you hear puppies screaming and crying, there's something not right. They're either cold or they're hungry.
Or they're being cleaned by mom.
And
right.
But, so they're just.
So if you saw it, so here's an example. I've seen Tammy do this. You've got a dog that is, the puppies are now 2 weeks old. They're starting to walk around. Their eyes are open and they're getting into mum's food.
And that's usually at 3 weeks.
Yeah, okay, 3 weeks old. And mum is growling at them.
Eesh.
And what do?
You immediately tell her no.
Right.
And I always remind her, those are your babies. No way, no how.
So give her some attention, show her some love. But if she does it again, what do?
I take her bowl out of there. Make her eat. Make her eat on her own because it's not worth it.
Well, what I thought you were going to say is you give her a smart tap on the nose, but you might do that. But
I might do it, a couple of times, and then it's like
you can't afford to have a dog bit. Right?
No,
So
no.
If you leave the food in there and it's causing a problem, at some
point.
Well,
I'll put my hand in the food bowl too to show her, hey, the food's still there.
Yes, right.
You eat, and I'll hand feed her and things like that.
I think this comes about if you've got dogs that have been running around together and they are healthful, they're going to eat the food quickly because they're worried they're not going to get any. Then you put them in an environment they've got as much food as they want. They don't forget that food's coming up. I see this with puppies, by the way, too. Little puppies, when they're getting the first time they're getting mushed, some of them are just like muscling everybody else out the way. There's going to be enough food for everybody, guys. But there's one puppy who's like, he's getting in it. He's standing in it and he's pushing other puppies out of the way because he's worried. I see the same thing, by the way, when you take puppies and you put them in an incubator and it's time for feeding. The puppies will just go friggin' nuts, right? Pushing other puppies out of the way because they've learned this. I've got to get the food while I can. Yeah, okay. I talked too much about that. Okay.
You did.
Okay.
You asked.
Yeah. John Mello says, we had 2 heated whelping systems in the same room, overlapped a month or so, no problem. Yeah, good for you, John. I love our heated whelping system. Apparently you do too. It's the cat's meow. Makes life so much easier.
And let me just say this. That lift that we have, that James sells, is a lifesaver for all you, because I know everybody's starting to have puppies now. That lift will save your back, your knees. You can scoot the chair up to it and tend to the babies if you want. It's just wonderful. And then you just lower it down when she needs to go potty. And you may have to have a dog bed that's a little bit thicker because it probably doesn't come down, but it's about 8 inches away from the floor. So, anywho, but that lift is a lifesaver.
So the problem is we haven't had any puppies here for the last 3 months.
No.
So I haven't been showing it to people.
No.
So we've got a whole bunch of them. I need people to go buy some.
But that lift is fantastic.
And those lifts are manufactured in China. And what will happen here is I've got probably 60 here. When those 60 are gone and I start buying some more, the price is going to go up dramatically.
Yes.
We don't make a lot of money on them, and all of a sudden, I think they're $295 right now, and I suspect the price will go up to $600. So if you think you want one, and I can tell you, even if you're a youngster,
How much are they now?
$295.
Oh,
today.
you better grab them while they're
Yeah.
this price.
Yes.
For sure.
$295.
Because I guarantee, I've had sciatic nerve hit me, and you can't hardly get up and get down.
Every person
This
bought
lift
one, it's great.
is fantastic.
Every person that's bought one has come back and said, this works beautifully, thank you very much. Nobody has regretted buying it.
You have a little remote control that it goes up and it goes down.
So there's somebody's got the lift. Somebody just said, I've got the lift. So, so tell us what you think of your lift.
Yeah.
So tell us what you think of the lift.
Yeah.
Tell us.
It's great stuff.
It is. It's great stuff. Right. And you think that the mama dog would be scared being going up on the lift?
No, she's not. She's there with her babies. Right. That's all she cares about. But it's good stuff.
You got to go to Love My Pups to get a product to buy it, or call me up to get it to order it.
Is it on the website too?
No.
Oh, okay. You said, Love My Pups.
Love My Pups, right.
Not My Breeder Supply.
My dog is pregnant. Musical Lyrical Worldwide says C-section on the 6th of May. She looks really big, almost like she will pop. Is it normal at 6 weeks? That is a dog that is full of puppies. Mm-hmm. We've had dogs that have got 11 and 13 puppies in them, and they look like they have swallowed a freaking basketball by the time.
Are you thinking about our Labradors when you say 13
No, I'm
puppies?
thinking about Cody's last time where he had, I can't think of a name now, that pied Lilac girl.
She didn't have 13.
She had 11.
Okay.
She was huge. She looked very uncomfortable. She was a big dog anyway. She was huge, huge. So, yeah.
Yeah, and 9 chances out of 10, they'll have them a little bit early. You just really have to watch them. Make sure her exercise is limited.
No jumping.
Let her out to potty. Yep. Put her back in the crate that last couple of weeks.
Yeah, if you take her out for a
no
walk,
kidding.
You have a leash on them.
Oh, yeah.
No jumping up on the bed.
No.
Especially jumping off the bed. Or trying to jump on the bed and falling on the side.
Ooh.
Not good.
Yeah. But yeah, you definitely want to.
Dana Hall says a mom that is restless and digging could also need calcium. True, that's a good point. So typically you don't see those things before whelp. You see eclampsia occurs or milk fluid occurs right at or after whelp, and you can have a calcium count done. And those dogs then typically need an IV. You got to be careful how you give calcium. Nutrical is something that you could give a dog and see if it made any difference. You could try that, but that's a good point. Bruno Fenci, as long as it's just a pup, is it okay for breeding? Could you get up to 25 to 30K for exotics? Not sure quite what you're asking me.
For exotic dogs?
It depends. I mean, look, so some of these French are going for that much money. Those were routine prices for special dogs back in 2020. Not so much today. We have not sold a dog for 25K in the last couple of years.
Talking about velvet big ropes and
a velvet big rope,
New Shade Isabellas with that carrying
or
pink.
Koi carrying pink. Yeah, some of those dogs could be that price.
Yeah, you definitely those will sell for that.
Yes,
but
John Malloy says the lift is a lifesaver. I have 2 of them.
Yay,
John. Thank you.
It's good stuff.
Mondelez's got the lift. She says, I love the lift. Bruno says, I need the lift. You do, Bruno. You
yes, Bruno. Need to get you that
SC
lift.
says, Tammy, you are a great sales girl. You know that.
Thank you.
It's very good.
Thank you.
So, I mean, look, again, remember.
Where's my money?
Yeah, going to the lift.
Give me my money.
What's
that song?
Not that song. It's that movie.
No, there's a song that.
Show me the money.
Yeah, that one. But the other one's is by Beyonce sings that one.
Yes, that was the.
I think. Is it Beyonce? I can't remember. But she says,
show me my money.
She says,
yeah, Beyonce. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Not show me my money. It's like, give me my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, those lifts.
So
fantastic.
What's our philosophy about selling products, Tammy?
Huh?
What's our philosophy about selling? What do we sell?
Anything and everything.
No, we don't. No, we try everything and everything. And most of those things we do not.
Let me tell you that if we try stuff and we don't like it, we do not sell it. So if you see it on our website or hear us advertising it, we like it.
We don't want to upset customers. I do not want to talk about customers.
No,
Don't want that.
no. If we don't like it, we don't sell it.
Don't want that. It's not worth.
So that lift is fantastic. The heated whelping system's fantastic. The traveling incubator is fantastic.
Yep.
The
puppy poop tray.
Yeah.
So what? So the puppy poop tray. The way that came about is I did go buy a poop tray.
The oxygen concentrator is fantastic.
And the poop tray sucked. It didn't work. It was no good. And that's when I said, okay, I think we need a poop tray, but I can do a better job. And actually, Tammy was the one who actually was the instigator of this. So, but the point here is that, we do buy other products. We don't design everything, but we do redesign stuff too, because what we got needs an improvement.
Always.
By the way, we've got prosthetic kits that are coming out soon, and they're a big improvement over the other ones that you see out there. They're easy to put on. They work really well. And they come in different sizes and they're adjustable. They're not on the website yet, but if any of you got flat chest puppies and you want to try one out, give me a call. Fast forward, Mum says, I need one too, but they've got to sell babies first. Oh, look at that. Forget Me Not from Australia gave us some money.
Thank you.
I wonder those are Australian dollars.
Huh?
I wonder if those are Australian dollars.
Probably, if it's like you, it's doll hairs.
Yeah, I don't know what an Australian dollar is compared to an American, but it said $8 against one of those Australian dollars. But we'll take it. Thank you
Hey,
very
we're
much.
not going to turn it down.
We're not going to turn it back.
We got to eat.
I think that is Australian dollars. Well, that's cool. Right.
Yeah.
At least it's not pesos, 10 pesos. No, we're just kidding. So when we understand about not buying stuff, look, don't put yourself in the poorhouse.
No.
But go get the important stuff first. I mean, there's some things that, you should. I see people who haven't really planned any of this stuff. And it's probably not our audience here, but there are people, because they call me up, they haven't planned anything. And then they get in trouble because they don't have the stuff that you should have. And there's some really basic
they get home with the babies and go, hey, I need that.
Well, like a feeding tube. I mean, it's like, if you need a feeding tube,
you got to get that puppy care kit for that feeding tube.
It's like $10.
Well, no, they can get the feeding tube without the puppy care kit, can't they?
Yeah, they can. Absolutely. Yeah. Cody's got those with some milk and everything else. Not expensive at all. But the point here is there are some things.
That's on my breeder supply. I
would call the lift a luxury item, right? It's not. You can actually have a litter without a lift, right?
Oh, but the sciatic nerve will tell you you need it.
Do it these days, but
your back will tell you, your knees will tell you.
Well, we're older and richer, so we can afford it. But I mean, we're older and richer. We're older, so we need it, and we're richer, so we can afford it. So I'm getting that.
Well, Chanel had one.
Well, she didn't. I gave it to her. She didn't pay for it.
If you're watching your money right and putting it back for that rainy day, you can go get one.
Well, that's what Fashion Forward says. She's going to have a litter. So
yes, exactly. You build up what you can get. Right, that's right. Yes. That's right.
Okay.
That's bothering me.
I think the one with the big dog says, the vet says there's only 4, but they are big. You better be having a C-section.
Yeah.
I can't even
Don't
pronounce
try to
this
have
word
them
right. I'm
naturally.
going to try.
They'll get stuck.
See if you can pronounce that, Tammy.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Eluwatosin Oyesanami. I don't know how well I did.
That's cool.
Is that? I mean, it's a great name.
It is.
My dog has a progesterone level of 2.5 nanograms per milliliter on day 5 and 3.6 on day 8. Could this split heat, and what should I do? No. So, you went day 5 to day 8, 3 days. You'd expect to go up, up 3 points, and you went up 1 point. It's fine. So if you're at 3.6, the question is, when do I think that she'll ovulate? The answer, I think she'll ovulate in 2 days. I think she'll be ready to read in 4. And if she's at day 8, that'll put you day 12, and that all fits in just perfectly. So when would I do my next test? The answer is I'll do my next test in probably 2 or 3 days. Sooner if her blood color goes light, because that's a good indicator of where they are. Most dogs will go from being a pretty red blood to pinkish when they ovulate to almost vanilla or clear.
Kind of a pinky brown color, really. Yeah. That's
So
what we just did with Coco. Coco is a Pete Ellis dog. It's a Mr. Banks' daughter, Coco.
Tiny little thing, isn't she?
Yes, she is.
She weighs 17 pounds to be overfed. So she probably should weigh 16, right?
15 to 16. I told Keith, I said, she is too fat.
Shelley, if you're listening, you overfed that dog. No, it's okay. It'll be fine. I like to have a slightly fat dog going into a pregnancy anyway. I don't want a skinny dog.
She's small, so she doesn't need to be fat.
I gave NutriDrops. We were talking about the dog that maybe, I think down a hall had said maybe she needed calcium. So he gave the NutriDrops. We tried that, So nothing else going on. So it says definitely AU dollars. They are They are Australian dollars. Thank you. We'll come to Australia and we'll take you out for a cup of coffee with what you gave us. You have to put us up though.
Australia would be fun.
Here's a good question. Forget Me Not Frenchie says, at what age do you normally see flat chest puppies? Yes.
Usually when they're starting to scoot around.
Yes.
About 2 and 3, probably 3 weeks.
Yes.
3 and 4 weeks.
So let's go through the scenario of how this runs up and what happens. Big fat puppies.
Yeah. You have 1 or 2 in a litter.
In small litters.
Mama's got lots of milk.
You got it. Exactly. That is that is the scenario where you've got to pay. So what happens here is
that puppy's just eating and eating and eating.
No competition.
So fat.
He just lays in the milk bar and just gets fat as a tick with nobody else pushing him off titty. And they all get to the point where they've got big fat bellies and they're hardly moving around. They're what called swimmers at that point. They've got their back legs are swimming. They're not getting up on their legs. The smaller puppies are getting up. They're not. Beginning stages, that's when you should be taking their legs up. If you let that go, then what happens is because they're laying on their chest goes flat. And why does that matter? Because their bones are still not calcified properly, so they're not hardened up. And what happens is it reduces their lung capacity and it can impinge on their heart. And you can lose those puppies over this. And the fix is easy. First off, take the puppy's legs up when you first see
With that first aid Band-Aid, that's
aid
about
Band-Aid.
a ½ inch.
Yep.
And then the older they get, you'll probably want to get the bigger one. Well, that's on the ears. Sorry.
Yeah. Take the legs up.
Take their legs up with the ½ inch.
Just the back legs. We've never taken the front legs up.
Yeah.
And what happens is they can no longer swim behind them.
And you can help them too. Once you tape those back legs, you can help them learn to pop up on those little legs and use those hips.
Yes, exactly.
But and you'll see a big difference about 3 times. You'll say something else?
No. Well, now I'm going to talk about the flat chest part. So here's the next part: is if you look at a puppy and you can see that chest is flat, specifically,
it's not rounded.
If you look at the other puppies and they're barrel shaped, rounded, you know you got a flat chest puppy. Time for the prosthetic. And what that does is it's kind of basically a cage that goes around their ribs that gives them a space between their ribs and this prosthetic. So when they lay on their stomach, it gives them room it doesn't press on their chest, basically. It's a very simple idea. So I'll do a video of that. I'm actually ready to start putting them up on the website. I'll actually do a whole video of this. The problem is I don't have any puppies right now. I did have some puppies when I first came up with it. I've been mucking around with this for years. But the answer is I don't have any puppies, so I was going to wait. But I think
poor Olivia. You can spare bitting on her for too long.
That's right. Number 1, at what age do males become fertile?
Well, could be at 7 months.
Could be.
That's early.
What's the other end? What's the longest it could be?
It could be anywhere from, you're looking at 7 to 10 months to 11 months.
Yeah, I was going to say 11. Exactly. That's the range. Typically in that range, some dogs.
But if you practice with them when they hit 6 months old,
make it
you're helping encouraging it. Bring a female around that's in heat.
Bruno, look at you, man. Good Lord. Thank you,
Bruno.
That's a
female.
really nice little tip there.
What did you do? Goodness
sakes. Tip now, Bruno.
Yeah.
Call me up for a lift. I want to give you a discount. I'm serious. I'm serious. Not a lot off it, but you're going to get some off it. Probably get the shipping or something. I mean, I'll help you out if you're going to be nice like that. Thank you very much. Very nice. I interrupted.
But anyway, I forgot now.
We were talking about practicing, getting started early.
Yes.
You got to
at 6 months. Start practicing.
Females in heat.
Bring a female that's in heat.
There you go.
And let them run around and play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then pull from him.
Yes.
And see, it'll probably be clear.
Might just spit a few tiny little dots that you can look at under a microscope and it's got sperm in it.
And then about another week, do it again.
Yeah.
In another week, do it again. And once it starts turning cloudy, you're getting somewhere.
And if he doesn't produce anything, you beat the hell out of the dog, right?
No.
No, you don't. You always give the dog a treat. Look, we've got a battle going on. Dana Hall. Thank you, Dana. Good Lord. You guys have been very nice. It must be Easter. Everybody's feeling very
We're going to get to eat.
We will get to eat. Yes. Actually, can have a fairly nice meal, actually, I think. It's going pretty nice.
Yeah.
Make it a pleasurable experience. Yes, thank you very much. Very nice of you, and happy Easter. Make it a pleasurable experience, right? Now, if he runs around with a female,
candlelight, Michael Bublé,
a little wine,
little Rose sitting there. Yes.
Another little Frenchie playing a violin over in the corner. So things to watch out for. They cannot have any manners, and they can start sniffing on a female, and they can get pretty insistent. They've got to learn some manners. They've got to learn not to dominate females. The females will typically teach them how to behave. What you'll see with our older males.
But you don't want it to scare them too much because that's what they're supposed to do.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So you got to,
used to, I'd say, stop that. And James says, no, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Yes, right, exactly. I mean, unless it's not a stud dog, and then of course maybe you get the dog fixed at some point. But the point here is, I would never, ever, ever leave a female and a male,
unattended.
Unattended, they're in heat. Never, even whatever age they are.
No. Because a female can get pretty raunchy when she's in heat.
And a male can too. Now, when we had labs, it was a different story. We would let them together, sometimes, and we'd hang around for the first couple, an hour maybe, and see if they got the job done. If they didn't, we might leave them together. I would not do that with Frenchies.
Well, we'd make sure the female accepted him before we'd leave them together.
Right. And also, you can, especially French Bulldogs, they can absolutely get themselves completely wore out. If it's a hot day and they're outside,
don't do that.
You can absolutely overheat a dog with this. So be careful. Just be sensible. Remember that they are going to try to get this done regardless. It could be thundering, raining, could be 100 degrees. They're going to try and get it done, especially dogs that kind of have got a taste for it. So be careful. Be careful.
Little Chihuahuas are something else when they do it. I mean, it's wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You can turn around and blink and it's done. It's like, oh, I'd never seen anything like it before.
By the way, what's the name of the new poodle?
I think I'm going to name her Gucci.
I like it.
I used to have that grooming shop.
So we've got a couple more questions, and we're going to
or Poochie Gucci. I'm sorry.
Bruno said, I text you. Yeah, I'll answer you after. I can't see it until I get the phone that's running this, so I can't see your text. But we'll have a conversation afterwards. A few more questions because we're past 9 o'clock. What are your thoughts about breeding next heat after having puppies recently? It's fine as long as mum bounces back and it was a good, successful litter and you had fun doing it.
And the vet gave you the okay that she looked good on the inside on her first C-section.
Fashion forward mum, 5,500 for a girl that has tan marks and is chocolate with AKC papers is okay. Yeah, you're in the right range, yes. Again, structure. There needs to be a nice, I mean, I would not buy that dog if it didn't have really nice structure, right? So $5,500, that sounds,
what is it? Chocolate and what? Chocolate and tan?
Yeah. So I think
what else?
That's all it says here, with AKC
Not
papers.
A fluffy carrier?
No.
Okay.
So chocolate and tan these days, I think the range for this is probably something between 3 and 6 maybe is kind of the range. Might see them for less.
Unless the DNA's got more to it, like testable chocolate, fluffy carrier.
Yeah, pink and all these other things. No, make a big difference. But I want to see for you a really nice structured dog. That is you can buy a cheap dog that's got long legs and tail and
narrow body.
Narrow body and a long back. I mean, it might be $1,500. Go buy it.
Stands up at an angle like this, or its feet are out, splayed out like this, or
elbows are out. Don't buy it. It doesn't matter if it's giving it away. If you're going to tend to breed it,
it doesn't travel well. No,
don't. Right. Yeah. Okay. When will the chest prosthetic be available? Right now. So you can call me tonight, tomorrow, and I can show you it. I can actually show you a video of what I've designed and actually on a dog. Actually on Billy, I put it on. So Billy's left some time ago. And I've actually got a slight redesign because I had people using them now. So I've kind of changed things a little bit, but it's ready to go. And I've got different sizes and they're adjustable. Bruno says steak again. Yes, absolutely.
You bet. Lobster this time with it.
Yes, right. Musical lyrics says I have a C-section booked for the 6th of May. When an ultrasound is done, can all the puppies be seen? Because vets have seen 4, but my female got to be the biggest 6-week pregnant dog out there. No, it's probably more than 4 now. No, I can tell you, ultrasounds are very unreliable, very unreliable. And again, I would not schedule a C-section of an ultrasound ever.
No.
Right. Fashion Forward says, can I send you a picture of the dog you're going to buy? Absolutely, you can. Yes, I remember telling you Gucci. Yep, good for you. Okay. And there's the last one. Yes, he doesn't seem reliable to me. We're talking about ultrasounds. Right. Okay. And that is it. So for those of us who gave us tips, we say thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
For those who gave us a thumbs up, we say thank you very much. For those who didn't give us tips or give us thumbs ups, we say we don't think you're going to have as nice an Easter as you could have.
No.
Okay.
No, we want to see you back here
We
again.
want to see you back here. That's right.
Next Sunday and every Sunday here on out.
That's right. That's what I meant to say. That was it.
Yeah, that's what you needed to say.
Yes. Okay.
Anybody want me to hit him, I will. But we'll probably let you know if we got babies. I'm expecting to see nipple change on Posh.
Yes.
Her attitude's totally different, so that gives me some hope.
Benny Hood says he wants a flat chest kit. Yes. So give me a call this evening, tomorrow, 580-799-2873. Benny knows my number. We talk quite a bit. But yeah,
Benny.
Okay. All right. All right. So there we go. All right. So anybody, I think that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye, buddy.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. See you.
Bye.